I, 20 female, no longer get along with my brother-in-law, John, 32. He's been with my sister, 34, for 6 years, and it's only recently that our relationship has gone down the drain. For some context, when John was 19, he and his ex-girlfriend, Jane, were having a baby. Unfortunately, the baby girl didn't make it. John and Jane broke up, but they meet up every year on the baby's birthday for lunch. Since meeting my sister, John also throws a small gathering for the family to come to. Obviously, none of us met the baby, but it's more for support since Jane moved countries and he doesn't have much family. When I was 16, my boyfriend passed away. It was very sudden, and nothing could have predicted it. One day he was there, the next he wasn't. I'm in therapy and grief counseling. The issue is that in the past 2 years, John had turned grief into a competition, which really hurts because I used to look up to him as a role model, especially when it came to grief and moving on. But he can't just let me be sad about my boyfriend. He has to bring up how his loss is so much worse. I want to clarify that I've never been in that position. I've never been pregnant or lost a pregnancy, so I can't pretend to know what that feels like, but I'm sick of him lording it over me. For example, last year, I lost my appetite, and John says, "When I lost my baby, I couldn't eat either, and I had lost a part of me. You just lost a person. You weren't connected, so it's not as bad." I'm invited to the party next month, but I told my mom and sister that I don't want to go and explained why. My mom and sister got very upset and said I was making a mountain out of a molehill and that I needed to put this pettiness behind me for John. They both said it would be douchey of me not to come. Am I the idiot? So John has turned his grief into an annual theatrical event and forces your entire family to attend as his captive audience. Sounds super performative and disgusting. Honey, you are not the idiot. He doesn't want support. He wants attention. Milking the situation so people feel bad for him. I have a loss. It hurts. It really does. But I would never turn it into an anniversary where I go out to eat with my ex and bring a poor family into it too. It's horrible. Don't go. You don't need to care if he doesn't care about your loss and feelings. Yeah, no. If it was just your sister, okay, fine. He likes the attention he's getting, and that's why he also made it into a competition with you. Can't have you stealing his audience or limelight, after all. So he's trying to gaslight you and your family into thinking that losing your boyfriend is somehow less and not as valid as his grief. And it worked on your family. They're a different type of grief, and comparing them does nothing for anyone, except him, because he doesn't want to move on and live with the memories that he has. You're trying to do so. In the end, you both lost someone. Your grief, as well as his, is valid. She lost her boyfriend 4 years ago. His loss was 13 years ago. So he's had a lot longer to process. I agree with everything you've written. He likes the attention, and her fresher loss threatens that. If he's being genuine, he needs some therapy because he's obviously not processing things if he's still holding on to how he lost his appetite and stuff like that. That he isn't going, "I lost my appetite and I found something helpful," but instead is diminishing the validity of OP's experience is a big sign that he has some major issues to deal with. Instead, he's milking it for attention. Yeah, that's not grieving for grief. That's grieving for attention. It's almost narcissistic. To throw an annual party for yourself is just so strange. I know a lot of people with various losses in life, some devastating, and none of them do this. The most any do publicly is an annual Facebook post or something. I just want to know how close you are with your sister, because if you are close and you choose not to go, that could potentially really hurt your relationship with your sister. And you need to think if it's worth you not going, if that meant your sister could hold a grudge, even if you have a good reason not to attend. Freshman year was my worst year in school. I moved to a new town and was forced to rebuild my life. I had to go through being the new kid and wished I could return to my old home. A week into school, I met a group of girls. Alicia, teen. Cara, Lori, and Amber, teen. We had the same lunch period and spent time getting to know each other, and I thought I was officially part of the team. But after a few weeks, the only time we would ever talk was when they needed me to film a TikTok video, and they didn't bother including me in anything. Instead, they started making comments about my body and how I wasn't skinny like them. I was already feeling self-conscious, but they only made me feel worse, calling me ugly and saying that no guy would want to be with me. I went to the school for help, but they said they couldn't do anything without evidence. Soon I started skipping meals. My parents eventually found out, and they begged me not to do that to myself. Finally, after months of being tortured mentally and physically by these girls and their other friends, I left the week before winter break. It took me a while to feel like a normal person again. I'm 18 female, and life has improved. I got accepted to university and was awarded a scholarship. I met an amazing guy, and we've started dating, and I've learned to love my body. My boyfriend and I are going to prom next week, and I'm so excited. 3 days ago, my mom and I went shoe shopping. While in the store, I heard laughing and chatter, but I ignored it. Then I heard someone say my name. I looked up, and I saw a girl walking my way. She said, "My name, is that you? What do you want?" She put on the fakest smile and started making small talk. At that moment, I recognized her as Lori, who bullied me the most. She told me she was surprised to see me and said, "I didn't know you had money to be here." The girls behind her giggled. I brushed it off. She then pointed to my thighs and reminded me how chunky they were. She then had the nerve to ask for my number so we could hang out again. I told her no. She looked at me confused. Why not? We used to be such good friends. I squinted and said, "Because why would I want to be friends with someone who bullied me into an eating disorder? You acted like I didn't exist until you wanted me to grab you something or film stupid TikToks." Lori looked shocked and said she did no such thing. I told her she was delusional, and I hoped she talked crap to the wrong person one day and got her butt handed to her. Her face went white, and she tried to redeem herself. I walked off and found my mom in another department. I told her what happened, and she was proud of me, saying one day karma was going to get to Lori and everyone who tormented me. I know I had to stand up for myself, but I can't help but feel bad for wishing ill will on somebody. Please tell me, am I the idiot for embarrassing my bully? Not the idiot. Her head was so deep inside her own butt, she couldn't see that she was still a bully. Her comments about money and your body are proof she hasn't changed. I don't think she's ever been called out before. Good on you, OP. Truth hurts. Continue to live your life for you. Girls in high school, matter of fact, a lot of people in high school don't mean a thing once you graduate. You're already at a different high school, getting ready for college. You don't need to feel bad for giving a bully a reality check, and don't accept any friends or follow requests on social media from any of them. The best advice I've ever heard is, be selective with who you allow to have access to your life. Carry on, and best of luck in college. My 25 female best friend, Mark, 25 male, is getting married to his fiancée, Natalie, 25 female, in August. Natalie asked me to be her bridesmaid 2 months ago, and I gracefully accepted. Although I was kind of bothered that Mark didn't ask me to be a groomswoman, but I didn't voice it to them because I didn't want Natalie to get mad at me. Anyway, the past few weeks, we've been going bridesmaid dress and shoe shopping until the bride finds something she likes for us. She said we could pick the dress style as long as it's long and in lilac color. I don't like any of the stuff I try on since I never wear dresses, and I've never worn high heels either. All the bridesmaids found their dresses and shoes except me. Natalie has been assisting me in finding the right fit, yet I don't like anything. After looking, I decided to ask her if I could wear some platform shoes I have and a lilac tube top with wide tailored pants. She asked to see the look, and seemed to consider it at first, but then changed her mind and said no, dress and high heels. She said my look looked like a corporate office look, not a bridesmaid look. I explained to her that I hate wearing dresses and high heels, and I don't know why I should have to. She said that I knew her requirements for the bridesmaids since day one, and if I was uncomfortable with those requirements, why did I accept being a bridesmaid in the first place? I told her I'd rather be a groomswoman instead and not a bridesmaid, since I'm not into girly things. And after all, Mark is my best friend, not her. She took great offense to it and told Mark. Mark got into an argument with me and said that I owed Natalie an apology and how they're not doing groomswomen, and he tried to convince Natalie to take me as a bridesmaid to feel included, yet I insulted Natalie with my words and behavior. Am I the idiot? Oh wow, by the sounds of it, she was very, very patient with you. Do you realize that this isn't about you? She's letting you pick and choose a dress, and you couldn't suck it up, Buttercup? You are the idiot. And if you want to keep this friend, maybe learn that the world does not rotate around you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Honestly, the fact that the bridesmaid let them choose the dress is very generous. So many bridal parties just have the bride choose the dress, and you can like it or leave it. OP wants to make this about her and how she's one of the guys. My worst ever bridesmaid dress was an early 90s Southern Belle style dress, complete with a big hat and gloves, in hot pink. I have red hair. I was not pretty in pink. I wore it with a smile on my face because of my friend. You shouldn't have accepted it if you weren't willing to wear a dress. Mark chose not to do a groomswoman. This was them making you a part of the wedding, which isn't your wedding. You don't get to override the fairly lax bridal party dress code requirements. Then you insult the bride to boot. In what world do you think you're being a good friend to Mark by insulting his fiancée? And a lilac tube top? Jesus, are you trying to be antagonistic? In what world? The one in which she breaks them up and gets to marry Mark, I'm sure. Natalie was so diplomatic. I, however, would have laughed in her face. A tube top? For real? Don't make yourself look foolish on purpose for my benefit. You have the personality to do that. Unless OP gave my fiancé a kidney, her butt would be booted from the wedding party and banned from the wedding. When I was growing up, that was my parents' mantra. When you're an adult, you're responsible for yourself. I started working when I was 15, and I attended a state college that I received a scholarship from. I graduated with only $7,500 in debt, and my job at a university came with a recruitment bonus that paid that off. My brother got a different talk. Our parents bought him a car when he was 16. He's smart and was accepted to a prestigious university, but no scholarship. And my parents earn enough that he doesn't qualify for financial aid. I make a good living now, and my parents and brother want me to help him. The thing is, he has a scholarship to a state school. He couldn't just go to an Ivy, but that's not good enough for them. I reminded them what they had always told me. They're mad that I'm not willing to sacrifice my life to help another adult. I don't think I owe them anything. Am I the idiot for reminding my parents that nothing is free when you're an adult? Life costs money. Your parents favor boys over girls, hence the special treatment your brother's getting. Your brother can take out student loans, sell the car, or keep applying for scholarships in subsequent years. It's not your obligation, as you've worked hard to stand on your own 2 feet and apply what your parents taught you, not the idiot. Or their parents could pay, since their income is why he doesn't qualify for student aid. The university thinks their parents can afford to pay, so why don't the parents pay? There's no way the university ability to pay assessment was based on the siblings' income, so their parents are trying to save their own available money by shaking down OP. Hun, you didn't get any financial help and survived perfectly. Your brother will survive too. This is such parentification of OP. I was badly parentified by my parents and my younger sibling. It resulted in a similar blurred line of my partner and me supporting my younger sibling and their partner's financial goals. Well, my sibling and their partner pulled out less than a year in, and we were left holding the bag. It was a nightmare. We were not financially strong enough to handle it, and it almost ended our marriage. It took us over 5 years to pull out of debt that we were left in, as we were fairly young and newly married. I don't think we'll ever truly recover from that loss. The best part was my parents refusing to get involved, as we were both their children, so they couldn't pick sides. As a result, I haven't spoken to my sibling in almost a decade, and it took a very long time to improve my relationship with my parents. Please, please, OP, don't do this. There is no way to win. You will only lose. I, 29 female, have 3 kids, and last year my husband/children's father passed away. I was a stay-at-home mom and always had been, so I had no idea where to start. I'd never had a job, and admittedly, I didn't even have my license. It was tough from every single angle, but in short, I needed help. So I decided to let my best friend, Jesse, 30 male, and his wife, Kim, 29 female, move into a spare room to help pay rent. I immediately went for my license, passed first try, and quickly got a job. During this time, my parents were helping with babysitting my kids. Thankfully, within 6 months, I had become comfortable with the adulting lifestyle. However, we were all still grieving heavily, as I never really gave myself time to process the loss of my husband. Nor did my babies really grasp that Daddy wasn't coming home, which made things much more difficult. So anyways, my roommates have been fine for the most part, but have recently started attempting to get me to party more, let loose and have fun. Things I'm still not even remotely comfortable with. And I've expressed this multiple times, and I don't really feel comfortable being around any guy while drinking. I'm working my way through that in therapy, started recently, but there's a long road ahead. Well, I picked my girls up from soccer practice yesterday and brought them out for ice cream. We got home around 6 p.m., and there were 4 or 5 unknown cars in my driveway, and I could hear the music blaring. I walk inside to find easily 10 plus people, mostly men, drinking, dancing, and partying with my roommates. I immediately turned off the music and told everyone to leave. My roommates called me a poor sport and said I needed to let go. Between them having strange drunk men and me in my husband's home, around my girls, and not respecting my boundaries on no partying in general, I decided to evict them this morning, where I had a lease already drawn up stating that I could evict them at any time with a week's notice. I only gave them 7 days to be out, and I was within my rights to do so. They're saying I'm an idiot for blindsiding them after all they've done for me. But them having drunk guys in my house around my daughters without even asking, knowing what I went through, was not a situation I will ever forgive. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. No, they deserve it. Plus, when you confront them, they still show no remorse. What a bunch of dummies. Ignoring everything else, they threw a party with drink in your house where your children currently were, without your consent? Disgustingly entitled. OP, make sure you change the locks the same day they leave, regardless if they give you back their keys. Also, if they have any access to apps, including passwords like Prime Plus, etc., that you pay for, make the necessary updates to remove them and change the passwords. If you have any small valuables, I'd suggest making sure they're somewhere safe. Not to insinuate your former friends would steal, but angry people sometimes do stupid stuff. Everyone's the idiot here. You suck, because once you opened your doors and drafted up a lease agreement for them to live there, it became their house too. They suck for partying when you made it clear that you will not tolerate it. You should give them more time to find a place to live. Moving from one residence to the other can be extremely stressful, and it sounds like they probably have done a lot for you during your time of need. I agree, and in many states, never mind countries besides the U.S., it's not valid for a lease to have a shorter termination provision than whatever notice the legal eviction process is. Where I live, you have to give a tenant at least 30 days to move out. Also, if she didn't discuss house rules before letting them move in, she's definitely the idiot. However, the roommates knew her and should have known this sheltered young mom with 3 kids was not the place to crash if you want a party.